Good evening. The time being 6:30 and a quorum being present, I call the Tewksbury Conservation Commission meeting to order. We don't have any meeting minutes to go through, so let's see. So first one, item on the agenda, request for certificate of compliance, AJM Development, Inc., 15 Starbird Ave, subdivision, DEP file number 305-998. Should we continue that one? The applicant is not here. So, any objection to that?
I have none.
All
I'll
right,
make a
could
motion
I-
to continue.
You made the motion? Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And then agenda item F and G will also continue those if you don't mind. Agenda item F, public hearing, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, Civil Design Consultants, Inc. of Andover, Massachusetts, on behalf of Marburg 1777 LLC, 1777 Main Street, Assessors Map 85, Lot 1, DP file number 305-1169. Could I have a motion to continue that to the next meeting?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Agenda item G, public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of Wamasett Lanes LLC, 434 Main Street, Assessors Map 22, Lot 69, and address behind 402, 434, and 442 Main Street, DEP file number 305-1165. Could I have a motion to continue that to the next meeting?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, now on to agenda item B, request for certificate of compliance, David Hinckley, 30 Mill Street, Assessors Map 99, Lot 106, DEP file number 305-1140. Is there anybody here for that? Could you please come up and introduce yourself for the record?
Come on down.
Could you introduce yourself for the record?
I'm Wayne Hinckley, the builder.
And David Hinckley, the owner.
Thank you. And what is it that you're presenting tonight?
It's just for the final letter from Conservation for all the approvals.
All right. Joe, could you fill us in on this?
Yep. So this is a notice of intent managed under an order of conditions that was issued in October of 2021 for the construction of a single-family home. So the single-family home was constructed within the buffer zone of wetlands, close to the 100-year floodplain, but not within the 100-year floodplain, and within Riverfront area. The applicant has provided an as-built plan prepared by a professional engineer. They've also provided a letter of substantial compliance provided by a professional engineer, which also elaborated on some deviations when comparing the as-built with the approved plan. Let me pull up those deviations real quick. So in the letter from the engineer, there's a few deviations. So the new house was constructed 82 feet from the edge of the river, which was further away than originally proposed, which is good. He says the grading around the house is consistent with the approved plan. There's a stone/gravel parking spot adjacent to the paved driveway. So those were the primary deviations that I noted. And that's really it. I did note that, the original plan shows some grading activity That's not shown on the as-built. The as-built just kind of shows the dwelling's location relative to the river. So it's up to the commission, whether the as-built is sufficient. And then the last thing I'll say is the special conditions for this order involve the removal of Japanese knotweed. And I did do a site visit out there, and they did do a pretty good job of removing all the Japanese knotweed. I didn't actually see any while I was out there.
I have no issue with the plot plan drawn as is, because the letter pretty much reiterates what was said with grading and everything else.
Okay.
Any other
Looks good to me. Looks good to
questions or
me.
comments? All right, if there's nothing else, then could I have a motion to approve the request for a certificate of compliance for David Hinckley, 30 Mill Street, Assessors Map 99, Lot 106, DEP File Number 305-1140, as discussed at this meeting?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Yep.
Have a good one.
Yep, I'll see you.
All right, agenda item C, request for certificate of compliance, John Berube, 986 South Street, Assessors Map 108, Lot 4, DEP File Number 305-1134. Is there anybody here for that? Joe, did you expect somebody to be here for that, or?
I did, the same applicant as for agenda item H.
Let me just table it.
All right, yeah, we'll table that till the end. All right,
So C and H are tied together?
Same
Same applicant.
representative, yeah, same applicant.
all right. Agenda item D, public hearing, request for determination of applicability, Michael O'Neill, 138 Pringle Street, Assessors Map 96, Lot 272. Is there anybody here for that? Could you please come up and introduce yourself?
Whatever.
Could you introduce yourself for the record?
My name's Michael O'Neill, and I'm at 138 Pringle Street.
And what is it you'd like to be doing today?
I'd like to install a basic shed on my property to the side of my house.
Joe, you did a site visit. Can you tell us anything else about this RDA?
Yep. I did do a site visit based off my observations of where the shed is proposed to be located. There's wetlands about 20 feet away from the proposed shed location. I also did note that wetlands appear to surround the western, southern, and easterly portions of the property. So just trying to actively see if there was a better location for the shed. But yeah, it looks like there's wetlands all around. It's, I guess, noteworthy to note that the shed is proposed in an existing maintained lawn area. And, according to our bylaw, the commission, if this were to be allowed, the commission can grant a waiver from the 25-foot no disturb zone setback. If, owing to the shape or topography of the applicant's property would impose severe economic hardship as defined either in statute or case law on the applicant, taking into account an investment-based expectation. So the commission, if, that is satisfied, the commission may at their sole discretion grant a waiver from the dimensional requirements of the no disturb zone, the no build zone, and allow impacts on the wetland areas protected by this bylaw. So it's a, sorry, go ahead.
The application is saying that you're 21 feet from,
It was approximately 20 to 1, 20 to 1.
Yeah.
okay, so I don't have a problem with it, but I'd like to keep it 20 feet.
Okay.
I don't want you to go all the way in to like 5 feet. So if you keep the shed within 20 feet of the wetlands, I don't have an issue.
So that's just where you had 4 stakes of where the corners of the shed are, so I think that should be fine.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments on this?
Is there any reason why it can't slide towards Pringle Street? It's harder to see based off the photos, but your quick picture shows it 20 feet with room. Is there like trees in front of that? I just can't grasp based off these pictures where exactly the shed's going.
So the shed is, if you're looking at the dwelling, it's directly to the left of the dwelling. And so,
Like the driveway side?
Yes.
yes.
And the other side's just wooded? Is that the case?
Yes, there is woods bordering the whole back of the property.
You can actually see the stakes on photo 2.
Guess there's any reason why it can't slide a little bit further away from the wetlands? Does it have to go where these stakes are?
I think Joe would agree that the slope of the property doesn't really allow for any other locations. And there is wetlands on the opposite side of the house that seem to be closer. So I don't think that would work either.
How big is the shed that,
A 10 by 12,
10 by 12?
it would be mounted above ground on blocks.
So you're not disturbing, you're just gonna put blocks?
Yeah, there's not gonna be any foundation or
I'd have no problem with
excavation.
that.
Evan, to answer your question, I'm not sure about if building zone setbacks come into play, if you move it up front.
Okay. Yeah, I can see land, I just wasn't sure if you slope
Oh.
up a couple feet, I mean, just based off.
I can see the
area.
4 stakes near the stockade fence. It's
Correct.
just hard to,
Exactly.
it's hard
Yeah,
to
I don't see
envision
any
it,
slope
right.
in those pictures, it's
Right.
just tough without being on site. So.
yeah, I mean, we're talking 120 square foot shed, just put on blocks with no foundation
Yeah.
and no electrical
Agree, it's
permits.
site limited, and this is the best spot for it then. I have to go by your judgment, because
Right.
based off the pictures, I can't tell and see anything else, so. So I'm
I have no
counting you.
voting power.
What's your assessment on this, Joe?
I think it's a reasonable location considering it was previously, just based off aerial imagery, just maintained as a garden. So it's already been like a previously disturbed area. And to the left side of the shed, it's like a linear feature. So I think even if you move it up, like you're still
Okay.
going to be a similar distance away from wetlands.
Okay, I have no issues with this then.
I have no issues.
All right, if there's no more questions or comments from the commission, this is a public hearing. If there's anybody who would like to come up and speak, now is your time to do so. Not seeing anybody. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Chair votes aye as well. And for this one, could I have a motion for a negative determination of applicability for Michael O'Neill, 138 Pringle Street, Assessors Map 96, Lot 272, as discussed at this meeting?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item E, public hearing, request for determination of applicability, Juan Almonte, 230 North Street, Assessors Map 62, Lot 8. Is there anybody here for that? All right, nobody's getting up. Joe, any idea if we should table this or?
I spoke with him today. He said he wasn't sure if he'd be able to make it. I explained to him that, yeah, the commission can continue it if, potentially, if you're not there. And this is in regard to the, this is like the follow-up permit from the violation.
Yeah.
All right,
So it's up to the commission.
Oh,
This
yeah.
property.
all right.
Now, why don't we table it and get through the rest, just in case he does show
All
up?
right. Yeah, we'll table that till the end. All right. Agenda item F, public hearing, abbreviated notice. Oh, wait, we already continued that one. Or did we continue?
Yeah, we can continue
Yeah.
F and G.
F and G. All right, so
Table H, right?
yes, we'll table H now and go to I, public hearing, notice of intent, Taj Engineering LLC of Lowell, Mass. On behalf of Carl Rosalind, 510 Tenaga Road, Assessor Map 110, Lot 22, DEP File Number 305-1172.
Hello.
Could you please introduce yourself for the record? I think only one of you.
Sure. My name is Carl Rosland. I'm the owner of 510 Ninja Road.
Thank you. Can you update us on this project?
Our engineer should have been here. So, yeah, I don't know. He's been talking to Joe a lot. I don't know where he is right now.
All right.
So I have an updated site plan that was recently provided.
This is the one beneath the deck.
Yes.
Below the second deck.
Yep.
She had a hard day at school today.
Yeah.
So I can go ahead and talk about what's
If you wouldn't
happened.
mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So from the last meeting for this project, this updated site plan has been provided, which kind of details more in depth about,
He just arrived.
okay. I'll let him do the talking
Perfect timing.
first.
This meeting's been going pretty fast.
I was told we are number 9 on the list. You're on?
Yep.
Good evening, Hushman Afshar from Taj Engineering. I was asked to be a copy of the narrative, that's where we ended up last time, I guess, regarding improvements in the riverfront area. We only wrote 4 pages
Thank you.
in the spirit of law. Conservation with C capital, otherwise we should have gone and write
Thank you.
a number of pages. Again, for all the practical reasons, we believe
I believe you introduced yourself, but could you just say it again, your name? Into the microphone.
you want it in writing? It's on the paper, I guess.
Just say your name.
Just
and
say
the
your
microphone.
name for the record.
Oh, okay. Hushman Afshar.
All right, thank you. Continue.
It's an old Scottish name. So, last time where we left off, you were waiting for DEP file number and then also the narrative regarding the protection of riverfront area and the impact of proposed activities. As you know, the entire site is within the inner riparian of the riverfront area. Needless to say, we believe we do meet the spirit of law, which is the protection. We are not proposing anything that will adversely impact the river and the riverfront area. The river is about 15 feet lower than the backyard, and the backyard ends at top of the slope, as I explained before, at the retaining wall for the most part. The lower deck, we are talking about replacing a lower deck and an upper deck. As I have explained in my narrative, the lower deck is currently an existing patio, a stone patio, which is very unsafe to use by the applicant. A door, the lower floor door opens to this patio. So instead of disturbing the ground and removing the stone patio, existing lower patio, the applicant is proposing just to put floor joists on the existing patio and then cover it with deck boards. And then, as a result, same thing on the upper deck, which is replacement of an existing depleted deck. At the same time, the applicant is proposing to extend in an easterly direction 5 foot the upper and lower deck both, resulting into 120 square foot in total of the replacement, 60 square foot per level. However, at the same time, the applicant is proposing to improve the entire backyard by removing all the invasive species and replacing them with native plants, native species, which is about 1,500 square foot of improvement. Also, across the property line, just over the property line, where at the bottom of the steps coming down from the driveway, that the stone patio extends. And the applicant is proposing to remove that section of the stone patio and convert it into lawn and grass. That area is about 80 to 100 square foot. So it's our opinion that not only we are adversely impacting the river or the riverfront area, but also we are making quite a bit of improvement, enhancing the quality life of the applicant by providing a safe deck and a safe area right at the egress from his dwelling.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments, or Joe, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, so I was provided the narrative regarding riverfront area compliance. So basically, it's a deck extension amounting to 60 square feet total. I mean, 120 square feet if you include both the patio and the upper deck, but it's essentially 60 square feet. And from a compliance perspective, I think it's all set. So whenever you, I don't know if I need to go too in depth on the regulation here, but effectively, there needs to be an overall improvement to the riverfront area, proportionate to the impacts on the riverfront area. So 60 square feet, just the commission coming to a conclusion of what would be necessary in order for no significant adverse impact on the riverfront area. So it's up to the commission on whether they think that converting 80 square feet of the patio back into grass is good.
Brick patio to the left side of the property being removed is equal to the deck
Right.
increase?
Yes, as indicated on the plan.
This is the property that has a boundary line issue, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, now I get it.
And we're working on that.
Yep,
Yep,
So,
good luck, Rick.
thank you.
so yeah, so technically there should be like a 2-to-1 mitigation area, but there's also a provision that allows for the commission to just use their discretion as far as what can be done at the site that will just provide an overall improvement, especially with this site where the area is tight. A 2-to-1 ratio seems a lot for the work that's being done. One question I have is for the invasive stuff. It says, so remove invasive plants in the backyard, starting from the back of the dwelling to the top of the slope. So is that just the grass area?
So there's a lot of invasive bushes and other vegetation there as well.
Okay,
So we'll clean that out.
okay.
Yep.
So essentially just, pretty much just at the top of that bank, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Up towards the retaining wall that goes down to the water. Yeah.
Okay.
So we get trees, bushes, other vegetation there as well.
Okay. So if that's part of a permit, I would just have like, whatever invasives you remove, just like photograph it before and after, so you can have like a receipt that you did it. So,
Will do.
so other than that, if the commission were to issue an order of conditions, the commission should consider, are erosion and sediment controls necessary for the site, considering the disturbance is already done, correct?
Yeah.
And is an as-built necessary, when it comes time for a certificate of compliance, whether to require that or not.
We know you've already built it. Is that 5-foot extension already been built?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's partially built,
Yeah,
nothing is completely
it's,
done.
yeah, all the joists are all
The joists are
there.
there.
Okay, so it's framed, it's just not
Yeah,
decked.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
exactly. It's
Okay,
framed, but
okay.
there's nothing else than the
Okay.
frame.
Railing, deck boards, none of that is there.
Okay, all right.
So I guess I would recommend, in addition for the invasive stuff, just to coordinate with me, and then we can maybe meet out on site and talk about, what to do.
That sounds great. Yeah.
So how about erosion sediment controls? Not necessary?
If we're not gonna disturb anything more,
Yeah.
I mean, putting deck boards on the railings isn't gonna
Okay,
create,
yeah.
it's just an additional cost. I don't see,
It is very close to the river, so like any other time, I would strongly encourage, but it's already like,
it's
the
already,
benefits of doing it now, I think, are
right, the
minimal.
work's already been basically
Yeah.
done. We're,
So how about an as-built after requiring that or?
I would require an as-built, because we're gonna make sure that other portion is not built, that's taken down, that's already there, the part that's not on the property.
I think an as-built is a good idea, especially since there's going to be additional property transactions here,
We can bring the as-built back for the certificate of compliance,
right?
Is there any objection on your part?
Can you explain that part?
So an as-built is, so once the work is done, you just survey the area to just essentially prove that it was constructed as designed?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Who would do that survey?
It would be a survey.
Whoever,
Myself.
Okay, okay, perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure it's like.
He handles that,
me,
right, right.
Yeah, okay.
hopefully,
Perfect.
it's almost exactly what's on here. and,
Fantastic.
Yeah, very
Yep,
simple.
that sounds good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments on this one?
I have none. I'm good.
No, I don't have an issue.
My only question would be, based off the drawing presented tonight, do we have to remove the erosion control information from it? It's not happening. I can approve it, just like I would have it modified. I mean, if this is going in record, and if it says we're doing erosion control, and we never did, I don't think it's worth keeping.
Also, I guess it can either be a modification to the plan or a condition saying that the commission determined that it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Do you prefer one option over the other? I just need to know what's all right, that's all.
We're not gonna put it there. So a modification? Just we determine it doesn't need it?
The notes say that it was done.
On the right-hand top, it does say that, right?
So there can be a condition to provide modified plan prior to,
Yeah, come back with no erosion control, right?
okay.
Well,
Not
at this-
even
at
come
this-
back.
At this stage of the game, you might as well just put straw wattles down. That way they're not coming back and forth and have to rewrite plans.
What's less expensive for the homeowner?
Yeah.
Yeah,
More plans
that's-
and no one have to come
We don't want to
back.
impact you, we don't. It doesn't really, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't want to have them incur any more cost to do a plan versus throwing down
Some straw wattles.
some straw wattles or a silt fence. I mean,
I think the plan should take all 2 seconds. To delete.
Delete?
Comments, delete.
we don't charge him for it, he does, right?
All is left is really, Mr. Chairman, a bunch of carpentry.
What was that?
It's a bunch of carpentry, that's all is left, to lay the boards down. That's it. You're not disturbing the ground, you're not touching the
No, but
ground.
they're,
Agreed.
they're
Yeah,
just
but
talking about
the,
removing this
the
from the
actual
plan.
site
plan.
plans
Yeah.
show straw wattles. And we just
Saying
said,
delete it from the.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it. Unless you're gonna do it.
yeah, so just
Do you mind
delete this.
to put this thing?
No, I mean, if they don't need it, then we can remove it from the plan too.
You remove it from the plan, and you don't have to put it in. So it should save you money.
Yep,
We're just looking for your,
No, I understand, I'm just a little confused, but that's okay, whatever you want.
yep.
So I think you should delete it from the plan
Okay?
and then, yeah, that we,
and then just submit it, a
Yeah.
fresh copy to Joe, and we're done.
yeah,
You like that here? Simple, clean?
Fantastic.
all right.
You okay with that, Joe?
So that would have to be like, there would have to be a time frame associated with that, because on the permit, I couldn't draft a permit tomorrow because.
No,
it would
he's
still
gonna
be-
provide you one before you issue the permit.
Okay.
Yeah,
That, there's no, I don't think there's a variance there, is there? For you to issue it, it would have to be,
Yeah, so it'd be, I mean, we're still on a 21-day time frame, so
Right.
theoretically, so. Once it's issued, or once it's, the public hearing is closed. So it would have to be within like 10 days, for example, to provide that plan, just so it's if that time frame works for the commission or something.
Does that seem reasonable to delete that one line in the,
And delete all the notes.
yeah, and the notes saying straw wattles? All right,
perfect.
all right,
I have something else to say. May I?
sure.
Now that that additional deck, upper deck is built, and at ground level, we are removing the stone patio and converting it into grass. And also at the same time, the process of buying over that abutting lot is in process. Would you allow him to leave the deck which is built for now?
The deck that's not on the property?
I don't think they can,
Yeah,
Give
we
me
can't.
permission.
that's
do that.
outside our jurisdiction, right?
yeah.
Currently, that would be unfortunately, that would be a different DEP file number, a different notice of intent or RDA to do all that. So,
But that, Dan, he doesn't own the property.
yeah, that's what I mean, like,
We can't-
yeah, we can't decide that because
yeah.
it would be some other applicant right now who would have to propose that.
Yeah.
So it's easiest, I think, to get rid of that portion of the deck, or don't build it.
Yep.
And then, once you own that property, you can do whatever you want within permitted
Yeah.
activities.
Sounds good.
And, yeah,
He has to come back before you.
Basically.
Yes, so
But we'll recognize
And take the
it.
ground and put
I
the
think
post
it'll
in.
be a much quicker process than.
He
what-
likes us.
Yeah, this is nice. This is how I like to spend my Wednesday evening. Yeah.
If there's ever a vacancy, like you can fill in, who knows? All right, if there's no further discussion,
So sorry, is the 10-day time frame for the updated site plan work?
I think that works.
I just need to be explicit in the.
No, I think, Evan, you good with that? Just it's submitted, so it's correct when it goes on record and when the permit is issued.
You want the detail also removed?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, for the erosion, okay.
That was fast.
All right, this is a public hearing. If there's anybody from the public who would like to ask any questions, make any comments, now is your time to do so. But not seeing anybody rise to go speak at the microphone, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I-
Chair votes aye as well. All right, and now, could I have a motion to approve notice of intent Taj Engineering LLC of Lowell, Mass. on behalf of Carl Rosalind, 5 Manager Road, Assessors Map 110, Lot 22, DEP File Number 305-1170, as discussed at this meeting.
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
All right. Agenda item J, public hearing. Notice of intent, Hancock Associates of Danvers, Mass. on behalf of Crown and Shield Management Corporation of Marblehead, Mass. Quail Run, Tewksbury, Mass. Assessors Map 62, Lot 15, DEP File Number 305-1171.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself for the record.
My name is Connor Brennan. I'm a staff engineer with Hancock Associates.
What would you like to present today?
So we are presenting my application for a notice of intent at Quail Run. Normally, we would have one of our wetland scientists be here tonight. They're a lot more involved in the project, but Kristen Farr could not be with us tonight. She was at another meeting, so I'm here to provide coverage. So basically, I'd like to, I don't know if do you guys have this plan already on
Yes,
PDF?
does everybody have?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we are proposing the restoration and repair of a failing railroad tie wood retaining wall over an intermittent stream. It's the access drive for this condo complex. It was put in at the time when the condos were all built, and it's in disrepair. One side of it's actually starting to lean out and bulge, so it needs to be replaced. And we are proposing to replace the wood retaining wall with a concrete block wall. So as far as erosion control, so I know you guys had some questions about how we plan to mitigate any excavation debris that might fall into the intermittent stream. As you can see, on either end of the stream, we're proposing a double walled silt fence that goes across the stream, which would be a temporary disturbance just for the construction period and be removed afterwards.
So my question on that was, I understand, or correct me if I'm wrong, but to establish the new head wall, there's going to be excavation of that bank, kind of, right above the culvert pipe. Is that correct?
So we don't plan on touching the culvert pipe. We plan on doing all the excavation from top of bank and reaching down with the excavator to remove the ties. There would be, minimal grading, just, to replace the dirt around the wall that was removed just during the excavation process, but there's no proposed grading to change the topography of the bank other than that.
I just wasn't sure if there was a way to prevent, so how I understood it was there was going to be digging above the culvert pipe, not at the culvert pipe, but above it. So just wondering if there's a way to prevent sediment from just falling in, but.
Into the culvert pipe itself,
Or into the stream below, is what I meant, yeah.
I think it's just a matter of having the excavator, the contractor, be very careful when they're removing the wood ties. They all come out as pieces. And then any earth removal that needs to be done for the concrete wall would be uphill of that and towards the middle of the road. We wouldn't be digging into the bank or pushing out into the stream any further.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the commission, or do you want to continue?
So,
Joe, I know you have a bunch of questions. Those will get to the applicant.
yeah, so I did have a bunch of questions just from a regulatory compliance perspective. Those have been subsequently answered, but DEP did, so some of them have been answered, but not necessarily in compliance yet. And I believe DEP had comments on this project regarding impact to bank and how a wildlife habitat evaluation is required if a certain threshold is met, and I think this project meets that threshold. So that would be another element to this before this project is approved. So I'll just have to coordinate with Kristen on that.
Okay.
But yeah, some things just weren't clear, but Kristen had subsequently, cleared this up, and I can provide this to the commission at a later point in time. But as the application was presented, it wasn't clear if it was going to be 85 linear feet of impact, 402 feet of linear impact. But I think she cleared that up. So I think, at least for tonight, I think it's more of just an introduction to the project and then settling the compliance between now and the next meeting.
I think as I understood it, we figured that you guys might want to go out and walk the site with us and take a look at it.
Already been there.
Huh?
It's got to get fixed because it's, it's going to fall into the stream, And Joe's question on the erosion controls. I mean, you can be as careful as you can with a truck, and you know what happens.
Yeah.
So you're going to need some type of erosion control in that general vicinity.
Okay.
Because, like I said, it's either going to fall into the stream or you're going to push it into the stream. So that I think there's some type of method that you can come up with, whether it be hay bales or whatever it happens.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I was just kind of confused where the erosion control going across the stream, but the actual threat of sedimentation is the sediment falling above the stream into the stream. So I'm not sure if there's a method of putting something to just catch
Catch
that.
it,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
hanging a tarp or something.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, a tarp that
Exactly.
goes down and removed,
Right.
after,
On contractors' means and methods though, right? You're just gonna write a spec that no debris can fall into the stream.
I think that's as Hancock Associates, I think that's going to be a strategy moving forward.
To do it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you could be digging with an excavator, removing stuff's gonna fall. I mean, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I think that was, we understand there's no perfect construction site.
Right, and we don't believe it's perfect, but we'd like to try our best.
100%. We also don't have a contractor settled yet. So that's why, if we had one, we probably would have worked out a little bit more detail on the means and methods.
Well,
That's
I
something
mean,
that
I like Evan's thing and your, Joe, of let's try, and Pat's of let's try to stop the crap from going in the best we can.
And this isn't the first time a culvert. has
No,
been
no,
replaced,
it-
So there
just-
must be some sort
There's
of,
gotta be some sort of good practices here,
Well,
or
they've
best
done it, the town
practices.
engineer's done it in the culverts we did up on Pringle Street.
Right.
You know, follow that.
It's
guideline.
gotta get fixed, and we just gotta try to limit the damage.
It's good.
all right. So any other questions or comments for right now?
I have none.
I'm good.
This is a public hearing. I am not going to close the public hearing because this, I believe, will be continued. But it being open, if there's anybody who would like to come up and speak, now is one of your options, but you will have an option the next time, or the next meeting this, we speak for this. All right, so if, so I think come back next meeting or we'll continue to the next meeting, but of course, if it's not ready, we can delay that. But I guess in the meantime, could I have a motion to continue notice of intent Hancock Associates Danvers, Mass. On behalf of Crown and Shield Management Corporation of Marblehead, Mass. Quail Run, Tewksbury, Mass. Assessors Map 62, Lot 15, DEP File Number 305-1171 to the next available meeting.
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go back to the table items.
C, E, and H. We'll, in a second. All right, we're gonna go back to agenda item C, request for certificate of compliance. John Berube, 986 South Street, Assessors Map 108, Lot 4, DEP file number 305-1134. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Good evening, John Barabee, 2543 Main Street, Tewksbury.
And what would you like to do tonight?
I am here to request a certificate of compliance for a project that we did on South Street.
Joe, is there any additional details you'd like to fill in?
Just a plot plan from the surveyor, the engineer that's shows all the grading, and should be a letter as well that are complied.
Joe and John sound pretty similar.
Joe, would you?
Yeah. So an order of conditions was issued for the project in May of 2021. The project involved alterations to the wetland buffer zone and bordering land subject to flooding. The conditions associated with the order were a standard order of conditions, and a cut and fill table will be submitted within 48 hours of the close of the public hearing. A cut and fill table has been provided. A letter of substantial compliance has been received by a professional land surveyor, and an as-built plan has been provided. And there were no notable deviations from the approved site plan. I think that's all I have.
Great. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I have none. It looks like it's complete.
Yep, nothing.
Nothing.
All right. If that's the case, could I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance, John Barabee, 986 South Street, Assessors Map 108, Lot 4, DEP file number 305-1134.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
While he's there,
you.
I'll just skip to
Don't
the-
move,
Yeah.
right.
I know.
All right. Agenda item H, notice of intent, Jack Barabay, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, I know you just said it. John Paul Properties LLC of Tewksbury, Mass, 58 Water Street, assessors map 94, lot 162, DEP file number 305-1172. Oh. It's like I can remember phone numbers. Thank you. And could you please?
Again, John Barabee, 2543 Main Street, Tewksbury.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to say?
So that I just gave you was an updated plot plan, which had a couple of little minor changes than the one that was submitted with the application. Two things, I believe. It shows, it's kind of dim, but it shows right at the line of the silt, at the silt fence, it's labeled as a cesspool. There's a tank there, an existing tank, because this existing house is not on sewer. So it shows the tank there, which we're gonna need to crush and fill and take care of when the new construction takes place. And then the only other change is that the rear deck has been shrunk down so that it fits the zoning down to 7 feet. So basically, I'm looking to raise the existing structure that's there and construct a new home, which I gave you a set of plans for. There's gonna be minimal grading, just basically around the house and the driveway itself. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave that wooden fence up where it is, so we don't plan on getting anywhere near the wetlands. Pretty straightforward. Build the house and tie in the water and sewer.
All right, any questions or comments, or Joe, do you have anything you would like to say?
Yep. So I think the applicant did a good job of just kind of broad overview of the project. Wetlands were delineated in August 2022. I did a site visit out there. The wetlands boundary is reasonably delineated. I did have a note about, just the applicant providing proper notification to applicants. It looks like he met all the appropriate timeframes and requirements. Yeah, I think pretty straightforward. It's just alteration to wetland buffer zone. I would say just adjusting the silt fence line. Or just the perimeter erosion sediment control should go around the septic tank.
Actually, I was gonna say, why don't I just put another row like along the wooden fence? That way, when I do that tank, we won't.
Sure.
Or I can put it up close to the tank.
Yeah, I mean, you can put it up to that fence if you want. I would say as long as it stretches across the entire property.
Yeah,
That
front to
makes
back.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll do a site visit anyway, right? You'll do a site visit before you sign off, right, for the permit?
Yeah, I
Right.
just want, it's
Once
better to
installed.
just be explicit now so
Yep,
that,
yep.
you're not angry at me for disagreeing with
No, I
someone.
wouldn't do that.
So again, stretch from, top of the property to the bottom of the property, just so all portions of the site are covered.
Yeah.
Where is the sewer lateral?
Right now, if you see where the existing driveway is,
Yep,
if you, looking at that from the street, it's just to the right of that,
okay,
like a foot or two.
okay.
And then the water is on the other side, to the left side of the abutter, by that chain link fence.
Okay.
There's no trees that are gonna come down, there's just one large stump in the front yard that's gonna come out.
Okay. So if the commission were to issue an order of conditions for the project, they may do so with the following conditions. So standard conditions number 1 through number 4, number 9 through number 19, and this following special conditions. Installing and maintaining erosion and sediment controls around the area of construction as to prevent the deposition of sediment from construction activities into nearby wetland resource areas. The erosion and sediment control shall remain in place until all areas of disturbed soil and other erodible materials have been stabilized at the site. Prior to any construction activity commencing, the following must be completed: establishing the erosion and sediment controls, and the conservation agent inspecting and improving of the installed erosion and sediment controls. The construction site perimeter sediment control devices shall include a staked 12-inch diameter compost filter tube. So that's the larger diameter.
Straw wattle.
Yeah, it's just the large ones.
Yep.
Because the 8-inch don't really have good contact with the ground,
Yep.
in my opinion. So that would imply no silt fence isn't necessary as long as the 12-inch is there. So another condition is, at no point shall any water from dewatering activities reach wetland resource areas. All water from dewatering activities shall be properly filtered and managed prior to being discharged. Soil stockpiles and dewatering basins / filtration equipment shall remain as far away from wetland resource areas as practicable. At a minimum, soil stockpiles and dewatering basins / filtration equipment shall be located at least 25 feet away from wetland resource areas and on the upgradient side of perimeter sediment control devices for the construction site. Soil stockpiles shall be properly covered and secured whenever not in use, and proper erosion / sediment controls shall be installed around soil stockpiles and dewatering activities, such as compost filter tubes or silt fence. And is also up to the commission, if an order of conditions were to be issued, to require an as-built.
I would, just because it's a brand new property.
Okay.
on the site.
So, in addition to providing an as-built once construction is completed.
Sure. Prior to the request for a certificate?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you normally present the as-built in tandem with the request.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
That's it? All right. If the commission doesn't have anything else, this is a public hearing. I will give anybody who would like to speak some time to, I just ask that you go to the microphone and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Laura Tetrals. I live at 80 Water Street. That swamp is my land, and it abuts 58 Water Street. I just have a question. This is all new to me, so some of the questions might seem a little silly, but the line of silt sock fence, should that be on the other side of where that, I don't know what it is called? The cesspool, yeah, the cesspool.
So, yeah, that's what we just addressed, where it's going to be closer to where the existing fence is, so it will be behind that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I didn't hear that, all right.
Yep.
Okay, and that's it. We're just happy where the driveway was, because we weren't quite sure when we had gotten the plans where the driveway was, but he let us know. But I think that's it. Yeah, yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. If nobody else from the public has anything to say, then could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a motion to approve the notice of intent for Jack Berube of John Paul Properties LLC of Tewksbury, Massachusetts, 58 Water Street, Assessors Map 94, Lot 162, DEP File Number 3051172,
moved.
as discussed at this meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks for your time.
Now we're back to E.
Yes.
Yes. All right. public hearing, request for determination of applicability, Juan Almonte, 230 North Street, Assessors Map 62, Lot 8. Not here.
No one's here, so I'll make a motion to continue.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, that brings us to everything. There is agenda item K, Tewksbury Wetland Protection Bylaw /
Are you here for a particular item?
Are you here for a particular project?
Well, you guys are gonna talk about the bylaw changes?
Yeah, that's coming now.
Yeah. Can we stay for that?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to make sure you weren't here for something that already happened.
All right, agenda item K, Tewksbury Wetland Protection Bylaw / Regulation Subcommittee discussion. Evan, do you want to take this one?
Did you guys talk about this last time or just?
No, we didn't.
All right. So I guess creating the subcommittee, the one issue we have is getting the 2-day notice, and with everyone's schedule, it's kind of hard to meet. So I would recommend dissolving this. We can give updates every meeting, as well as this will be presented and have time to review before it's happening, but trying to coordinate between the 3 of us with 2 days notice. I mean, we just had to cancel a meeting on Monday because my schedule got messed up with work. So I think trying to do this, it'll just make the process a little bit longer. I'm happy to keep it a subcommittee if that's the way the board wants to do it, but I think it'll just make the process a lot longer. The public will still be engaged by having the updates during the meeting, and it will have time for review before we adopt the bylaws as well.
Yeah, and I agree, it has been difficult to arrange meetings. It's kind of, up in the air. We have to put the agenda item, and the agenda is kind of talk about the bylaws, and then the minutes would be, we talked about the bylaws for right now, but when we bring this to discuss it as a group, we would of course give, anybody, plenty of opportunity to speak and, let them make their opinion known. So I am also recommending that we dissolve it, but if everybody else thinks it's a good idea to keep it, then I have no problem with that either.
So in other words, how would you want to move forward? Do you want to do the discussion at the end of every meeting?
We can give you a quick update, or once we have substantial comments to give you, we can give you those, because we're just working our way through, and an hour took us to review the definitions, and the next hour it took we made it through 2 sections. So we can give you an update on what sections happened, if that's what everyone would want, instead of having the committee or the subcommittee. But I think it'll just make the process a little bit quicker, and we'll get to the final goal while still providing updates as needed.
So as you provide us the updates of what we would like to change, we'll discuss those updates, but we don't want to discuss the entire thing.
I think we could update the commission as we go, and if there's any questions, we can certainly discuss them at that point, but we would still have at least, I don't know what's required. I would imagine more than one, meeting in which we would discuss the entire bylaw.
Right, that would be towards the end. What I'm saying, if you're going to take your definitions first, you present the board with the definitions. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Are there any changes that we would like as a board to see?
I think it's better to holistically, if we're gonna do it as a group of 3, to go through the whole thing, because if we're going through it, how we do definitions versus what we do in the future could be affected by without understanding the whole thing in total. It's hard to kind of say, okay, we're 100% confident. We might get later down the line and say, oh, now we need to change this. Now we're re-bringing everything to the board, versus coming with a 90% draft or something like that to the board and say, okay, let's review this. Let's take the time as the whole entire commission to go through everything.
That's fine.
as an example, just real quick, we went through the definitions and we thought it was great, and then we went to a different section, and then we had a discussion on, should we put this section in the definitions, or should we put it into a different section? So as we go through, we're constantly going back and making sure that it complies with
And
everything
then what's
else.
in the bylaws versus what's in the regulation
Yeah.
has been a discussion as well.
So the not so great wasn't really so great.
Yeah, essentially.
At the
like-
time,
Right,
it's a bad idea.
No, I get what you're saying, because unless you look at it inclusively, it's, you can't start here and then add later.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like filling out an IRS form. Yeah. Add this, go back here, divide this by
Yeah.
this, you know.
Right.
I understand what you're saying.
Item 30, right.
Yeah. All right, and for you two, I just want to be absolutely clear. If you have anything, this is not a public meeting right now, but if you have any questions or comments, you are, of course, be able to come up and speak. But we're still going to have, I just want to reiterate that we would still have a meeting in which everybody would be able to come and discuss, the public would be able to come. So I apologize if you thought this was going to be more, talking about specific things in the bylaws. This is more of a discussion because the subcommittee is proving difficult to handle right now. But I, again, just wanted to reiterate, you will have plenty of time for additional, questions and comments. And that's not just at meetings, like you can contact the town. I'm sorry to give people
Joe
your-
Fontaine, right. I don't want to say his name too loud, right.
Yeah, so at any point, in the future.
One question?
What's that?
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Just you have to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah. Sorry about that.
All right, here we go.
Hi, John Stanton, Cottigan Road. I think we're just confused as what's the overall purpose of the subcommittee? Are we changing things? Are we just tidying up some rules?
Yeah, so.
Changing numbers? Like, we're all confused as to what's.
Essentially, we had our former conservation agent, nothing bad to say about her. She was great, but she left. And then we got a new conservation agent. And as he's gone through, after most meetings, he would ask us questions about why is it like this? Why is it like this? Why is this rule like that? Here's something that doesn't make sense. So he compiled a bunch of notes, and it's been a while since we've touched this bylaw. So we're just trying to tidy it up, make it that much better.
So like the zoning thing a year ago, you're just trying to condense things.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Make it easier to read.
we're
Yeah,
trying to make,
exactly.
we're trying to make it make more sense
Okay.
to
But there's no like big changes on the way.
not the plan.
We certainly don't have.
As of right now, it's minor changes, like defining what exactly a structure is, because we always get into this.
We're concerned about distances.
Oh,
So no,
So there isn't any proposed, or there hasn't been any discussion of like changing the no disturb zone setback and the no build zone setback.
so it's-
It's more or less like what defines, like for RDAs, for example, like those are typically for sheds, for sewer tie-ins, but our bylaw requires, for example, public hearings for that, whereas the state regulation just requires a public meeting, which is, it's a little less stringent that way. So that would be kind of like one of the most things to consider for the commission.
okay.
But it's not changing any, or I certainly wouldn't want it to change any setbacks or anything.
Right, that's what we're thinking about,
Right.
if there's any changes on that
Yeah.
front. as
And
far as-
feel free to talk to Joe Fontaine, right,
Well, and
regarding these matters.
I do want public comment, so if there's something that you have in mind, like now is the time, or one of the
All
times.
right, so I have one,
Throw it up.
not right now.
Yeah, go ahead. I would ask that in the future you email or present it in
Okay,
writing.
all
It's
right.
not like town meeting where you have to do that, but right now is perfectly fine to, if there's a
Just general,
suggestion.
we're only involved because we're on the Ames Pond property. And there's a lot of discussion about building up that area. So when you're on page, I think it's page 9, and you're in 18.04.3, and it's the jurisdictions, and you get to, 200 feet from the river, 200 feet from a vernal pool, 100 feet from a stream or a brook, without a permit. But with a permit, all those numbers get thrown out, and it goes right down to 25 no disturb and 50 no build. Is that correct? Like those numbers mean nothing with a permit. That's all no permit stuff, those big 200 foot, 100 foot. But when a project gets developed and you get permitted, the only hard line is the 25 no disturb and the 50 no build, or is even those numbers debatable when it gets down to it?
Joe, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you're more or less correct. Like, so the buffer zones are just trigger what requires a permit, what doesn't. So if you're 110 feet away from a wetland, you don't need to go in front of the Conservation Commission for a permit. But if you're 95 feet away, you do, and the project gets reviewed. But yes, the 25-foot no disturb zone, the 50-foot no build under our bylaw are like defensible.
Are those pretty concrete?
Those are yes, those are defensible boundaries in the bylaw where if anyone wants to, or as you might have heard in this meeting, you have to prove, or there has to be good reason for the commission to grant a waiver to not, for the applicant not to respect those 25-foot and 50-foot no build setbacks. So those are defensible boundaries within the bylaw where the applicant needs to meet certain standards in order to request waivers from those. But anything greater than 50 feet, if it's a buffer zone from a wetland or some other resource area with a 100-foot buffer zone, it's from 50 to 100 feet, it's essentially just triggering a permit and a review as well.
And it's pretty, like, it never gets denied, these things, when you're in that zone, like inside the 200 and inside the 100. It's pretty rare that you would say you can't do that. So,
well, so I
like
think
those numbers don't really mean much then, when you get down to it.
it depends on the site. I mean, it's a case-by-case basis. I can't say that it doesn't matter because there might be a case where any number of things for any site. Any site is unique. It's really the 25-foot and the 50-foot no build and no disturb.
Well, we're usually pretty stringent on the 25.
Yeah.
Nothing happening in there. And on the 50, we could allow the 10% if we wanted to, but you'd have to show good cause why. So let's say somebody's building a house and the house is within the 100 feet. And he decides he wants to put an addition on, but the addition is going into the 50-foot no build zone. No.
It would be a no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that was my only question about, because when you read it, it looks promising, and then you see the caveat is that without a permit. So with a permit, all those numbers kind of just get pushed to the side.
That's because it's our jurisdiction. If, like what Joe was saying, is that if it's within 100 feet, then we have to review it. And that's not Tewksbury saying, our bylaws, we need to review it. That's the state saying the town needs to have a conservation commission to review things that are
But it's
within.
a town by town mandate, so you can, like the state puts out the 200 and the 100, so it's up to individual towns to
We can make,
inside that zone, make their own rules, right?
we can make it more stringent. We can't make it less stringent.
Can't make it less, right?
There's a lot of towns that do not have the 25-foot and
I
50-foot.
agree.
Yeah.
Yes, looking into that, you're right. There are a lot
Yeah.
that don't even have that part. So, all right. So just I was trying to get a figure for the hard, concrete numbers are the 25 and the 50. Okay. All right. That's all. Thanks.
So do we have to make an official motion to dissolve the
We
subcommittee?
made one to create it, but
So just to, for the note about the subcommittee being a thing or not, it could go either way. It hasn't really been too difficult for me to just, do the agenda and stuff as we, because we were able to test it out for a little bit. But it could go either way.
Canceled one, and I would prefer to move the next one too. I mean, I can make it work, but
Okay.
And I think it would also just be that much easier. Hey, I have
In the morning of,
15
yes.
minutes, I have 45 minutes, let's talk about it. And, meet quickly
Yeah.
and often and stuff.
I would, yeah, okay, I would just want to emphasize that we're not, the public can still inquire with
Yes,
us about
yeah.
everything, and we're still trying to be as transparent as possible, but also trying to get something done as well.
in a timely manner, yes. So I'll make a motion to dissolve the Tewksbury Wetland Protection Bylaw Regulations Subcommittee.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And any old business, new business, or is there a motion to adjourn?
So. I think that's it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next meeting is December 21st.